And actually, I found very nice the invitation from Alberto and his team to tell about the journey of the project through the EU perspective. And I like it because it's pretty much also the journey of the climate services research priority through the various work programs. So I thought it was a really appealing invitation indeed. So as every journey, it starts a bit earlier than when actually started the project in 2018. Next slide, please. So our starting point is a slide that I like a lot, and I use it already in other occasion. It was a stock taking moment, as the one you are living now, coming at the end of the project. And we were in the process of building the priority for Horizon 2020. And we were taking stock of the previous research and innovation framework programs and seeing that the EU-funded research helped a lot to improve our knowledge of the climate system, the capability to predict climate change and its impact, and it was producing a lot of very relevant scientific articles, being a major contributor to the IPCC assessment report. But still, the pace of this improved knowledge turning into action on the ground was not as fast as we would have liked to see, and it was not as much as we would have liked to see. So this is where we started from, shaping the climate services as a research priority under the Horizon 2020 work program. It's really a journey from invention to innovation, to the improved knowledge, to have the knowledge used. And this is pretty much the journey of SECLI firm as well. And it's a journey from the wheel to the chariot that scientists and researchers haven't done alone, but they did it hand in hand with the final users, with the energy company, with multinational, with smaller utilities, with the consultancy sector. I found it really really applicable to you, this nice drawing. Next slide, please. So if we look at the research policy, the starting point was us to embody this vision in the European Research and Innovation Roadmap. And it was really a change of perspective, moving from the supply, so from climate research to innovation, to the demand, innovative solution. And from this document, there were a number of calls for proposal and topics that derived from this document, and among which we had the topic under which we funded the SECLI project, together with other 8 projects, and some of them are somehow represented also in the panels this afternoon, and they were in the previous 2 days. And as a whole, they represent a 9 project portfolio of over 60 million euro. And we were, of course, expecting this project to help us to demonstrate, to embody this change of perspective I was mentioning before, moving to innovation, moving to the demand side, moving towards an innovative solution. So what we expected out of SECLI firm as well was to have really users-driven demonstrators. It seems pretty mainstream now, 7 years down the line, but at the time they were the first of their kind demonstrators. And you will see that SECLI also developed a number of decision support tools at different level of maturity that you saw showcased during these days and maybe also later this afternoon. But beyond having these services co-designed and co-developed with the actual end users, we wanted a bit more. We wanted this to be co-evaluated with the end users. So we wanted the value of climate service, the potential or actual value of climate services to be assessed together with the final user. So to go beyond the skills of prediction and to look into what make these services relevant and useful and to be used for the end users, also in terms, also in economic terms. And also you, as SECLI, you produce a very nice deliverable and papers on the economic assessment of climate services. But I want to stress that in that topic back in time, we didn't mention any technological readiness level. There were not TRL indicated there. One of the reasons is that we were aware that maybe not all science, not all components were yet there to really more going into operational climate services, but we were interested also, or interested mostly, in the non-technological barriers. And indeed, SECLI firm and the other project we funded through this topic were really helpful to really raise the awareness along the value chain. What are the needs, what are the constraints, what are the respective cultures, scientists and end users and purveyors along the value chain. What are the languages? What are the drivers, the main drivers for action? And on that respect, if I really look at SECLI firm, I can say that you achieved, you met all these expectations. You had your challenges, scientific, non-scientific, scientific ones. We had the COVID, we had a bit of all. But if I look at this expectation, I'm happy to say that these expectations were met. So the question is, what's next now? And let's move to next slide also. So climate services stays very relevant. It's a message that I want to pass, stays very relevant in the overall direction where we are going, the European Green Deal policy at the European level, where really science and knowledge have to be mobilized to meet the objective of the Green Deal. To be climate resilient by 2050 is something that cannot be achieved if we do not mobilize science and innovation. Of course, I'm not talking only climate services, I'm talking about technology-driven innovation, but climate services they have a role to play there. And it's a quote also I like to show it. It comes straight from the European Green Deal, and it really mentions and stresses how climate services are an important enabler for delivering on the Green Deal goals, where it is crucial that across the EU, different players, investors, insurers, businesses, local authorities, citizens are able to access to data and to access to tools that allows them to factor in climate change signal into the current practices, risk management practice, and decision-making procedures. So there's really room for climate services to have an important role there. And if I look closer to SECLI firm, of course, I look at the energy sector, and the decarbonization of the energy system is a critical pillar. It's critical to deliver on the European Green Deal goals. And here again, the climate services can be very helpful in harvesting co-benefits, mitigation adaptation co-benefits. So I think that the climate services will play more and more important role in the years to come. If we look now from the research and innovation perspective, we can move to the next slides. We'll see that in the new framework program, Horizon Europe, climate services are not singled out as a specific research priority, but this does not mean that climate services cease to be supported. I would say the contrary, they're really horizontal there. On one end, we have, of course, the, let's say, more traditional research action aimed at supporting the science underlying climate services. And this you find in cluster 5, the destination called Climate Sciences and Responses, which is where I work, by the way. And here we have, for this year, and is currently under evaluation, a topic that is specific to climate services. It's a very large 9 million coordination and support action that we see really tasked to harvest and all the best practices, all the lessons learned developed by this portfolio project. And beyond that, we had the ERA for CS, we had many more, in order to bring them to the next level. What is the next level? Is to really have a quality assurance protocol, is to have standardized practice and standards in order to really continue this trust building exercise I was mentioned before, and you also undertook with the SECLI firm project, and to facilitate really the uptaking of climate services and the market outreach of climate services. So it's something really that for us it's very important in order to continue, let's say, this experience we had done with the project. On the other hand, if we look at the downstream part of the value chain, we will have climate services deployed in a wider context, in the systemic approach of the Horizon Europe mission and adaptation, where of course they can play a role in having at least 150 and regional communities in Europe more resilient, and having 75 large demonstrator by 2030. And we have here an update of the work program coming in 1 month or so from now, where we will see we'll mobilize around more than 300 million in the next 3 years for mission adaptation. And new topics, of course, will give room to accommodate climate services as well. Of course, if not mentioned as climate services, you can find the decision support support to the decision support system embedding the climate change driver in a number of topics, in a number of clusters. A hint I want to give you is to look at cluster 6 here, destination environmental observation and digital technology in support, digital solution in support of the Green Deal. Currently, there's a topic for climate services, even if they are not named as such, in support of nature conservation and biodiversity, but the next year there will be more sector to be tackled. It's under discussion, under shaping, and of course energy could be among one of those. So stay tuned, I would say. Next slide, please. So all this to say, the journey goes on. Actually, it's not over. There are a number of ways how the journey goes on. Of course, you have the collaborations stemming first from SECLI firm. This is a very important outcome. Of course, there's the possibility to engage with the active climate service project. Yours will be over in 10 days, as Alberto reminded. But there's more. I said 11, but in a broad sense, there are more than 11 active projects developing climate services under Horizon 2020, and we will have the CSA to come that I mentioned before. And I'm sure that as individual partners, you may be engaged in some of that. So it's a way how to continue the adventure of SECLI firm in some way. And the last very concrete, let's say, way how to go on is to, you see that you are discussing what are the research needs, where the contribution should be put in advancing the research agenda of climate services. And this is actually the same question my colleagues in DG Research and Innovation and in DG Climate Action are posing to themselves now. We are in the process of shaping the new work programs to 2023, 2024. So it would be very timely if you can really capture the outcomes from this discussion, the panel discussion happening later in the afternoon, and what you of course developed throughout the years in order to input also this programming exercise. So as you see, there's a lot to do. So good continuation to us, and thank you very much for listening to me.